What's up? Back at it. Cheers. Is my microphone on even? I forgot to charge my lights. They're gonna die. Hopefully the internet improves a bit. We get some quality stream here. You need to be able to read a setup sheet, so we'll see. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. Said a logo. I like this when I found it on my computer. It's the official IFMAR live stream. Okay, let's see what people are saying. People want to make millions. I'm late. No, I'm actually early. It's only 12 past, not quarter past. Holy potatoes. Okay. Looks like it's working. How is the stream? Is it good enough quality? Can you see my wrinkles? Can we go on? Sound okay? Everything's good? Okay, good. So, what the hell did I plan? I had some kind of plan here. I think the plan was that Thursday nights gonna start doing YouTube lives again. Later on, once I get the online course more finished, then I'll also start doing YouTube videos like before, edited videos. I want to do some different tests. Like I want to test gyros and really get to the bottom of what can you do with gyros? Can they really improve results? I want to do some tire tests, some kind of like a whole range of fun things that could be interesting for people to watch. So that's later on. For now, Thursday nights, we're going to do these live streams. You can ask questions. I'll respond to them. You can send me millions of dollars on super chats. Hopefully, I guess monetization is on. And if you send a super chat, I'll definitely read your question and reply to it. If you just comment in chat, maybe I'll miss it. But I'll do my best. What else? Thursday nights, these lives, 3 different topics. So one will be current affairs, something that's happening right now. Talk about that, maybe a bit of a rant. I'll see if I can get guests on. Lefty might come on later on today. So that's one thing, current affairs, maybe a guest. Then second thing is Mayako news. So what's going on in the world of Mayako? Talk about that a bit. And then third thing is something to do with invisible speed. So talk about setup, driving, something like that. So those 3 topics are the things that we'll cover. I don't know how long these will go. Probably, if I had to guess, 45 minutes to an hour. That would be the goal. Okay. Same time Thursdays. Yes, I think this same time should be good. So that's the goal. Thursday, this time. There we go. Neo is in the house. Ciao bello. Amber Heard? Question mark. Well, I mean, I have had my experience with an insane lady, and I think Amber Heard fits the bill of someone insane. It's like you can't really tell, and it's almost like you are in disbelief when it actually happens, like when they go insane mode. But yeah, there are insane people out there. Amber Heard is one of them. Got to be a big shot to do super chat replies only. I didn't say only. I said definitely I'll read those out and reply to them. And I might miss some. Like here, Jason Robinson, when's the e-buggy arriving? I just missed that chat. Like, I missed it. It wasn't a super chat, and I didn't read it out, and I missed it, so I can't reply to it. You know? My driving and car setup skills are greatly improved thanks to your videos. Thanks, man. Well, thank you. Thank you, Nate G. You got on the stream right there. Nate G. Oh, hard-hitting questions. Is Finland joining NATO? Well, this is a tricky one. I think Finland is as close to being as in NATO as you can be without actually being in it. So, what's that last paperwork really going to do? Why were you so good in RCGP? Was I good there? Maybe it was those starts, gate starts, you know? I got some pretty good starts at RCGP. Okay, well, where do I see how many? 81 people. This is a disgrace. On Facebook, I used to have, basically, we only started after 100, right? So, okay, please share. Is Rhonda Drake on? Rhonda Drake must be acting with a fake name, but probably she is here. I don't know about Adam. Probably both of the Drakes are watching, 85. But just in case, share with them. Make sure that they know that this live show is back on the air. We're going to go over a new rough track car setup. Maybe Degani could come on. He was actually on a rough track just now in Vegas, Silver State. Let me ask Degani if he'll come on. Let's see. Get Degani live. That's actually very dangerous to have Degani on live. I'm going to call him. Let's see.
Yo.
Hey, you're on live right now to millions of people on YouTube. Yeah, can you come on?
Millions of people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just getting into my car here in a second. Can you give me a second?
Yeah, just voice? Okay, no video then. Just voice call?
No, just voice. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, I'm just leaving a customer right now.
Okay, cool. Bye-bye.
So you're going to call me back with a link?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Okay.
In WhatsApp. Bye. Okay, we can get Degani on, I guess, to talk about setup. Wings, wings, wings on buggies. Oh my god. I don't want to talk about wings. Wings depress me. Wings and bodies, they make a difference. Wings make more of a difference than bodies, but some of the differences are more mental than in reality. Let's be honest. What beers for tonight? This is Saku. Saku Original. Värskeä humalainen lager. It's Estonian, I guess. Is it? Has to be, right? The beer of Estonia. Estonian beer. Well, a lot of love for Invisible Speed. 83 only. 83 viewers. Come on. We need 100 people. After getting Invisible Speed at RCGP number 1 was a great addition. Thanks, JQ, for your knowledge. Yes, someone, Teddy Bear got the Invisible Speed book at the race. Hola, saludos desde Uruguay. Got someone from Uruguay listening and watching. That's cool. I learned a lot about engine tuning from your videos. Thank you. Yes. And also in the online course, we expand on that even more. So that's good. Also got the break-in video out. When are you going to utilize the power of the balls? We might talk about that actually a bit today. 87, we're getting closer to 100. Get people to join. Share this. I don't have Facebook anymore. Just take the link, spam it on Facebook. Okay? Get people to join. Joining the Invisible Speed program was the best to help me understand setup. That is great to hear. Roberto Parenti, the fake Italian. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Neo, you donated €5, but you didn't ask a question. Defeats the purpose. Now he's waiting to the end. Neo is famous in the Invisible Speed course. He always asks the last question. So he's waiting to the end. That's fine. Thanks for the talk about wings. No, we're not going to get into detail with that. Until 100 people. Wow, that's a tough one. Jacint Halas. No idea how you actually say that. There's so much going on there. Until 100 people, I'm wrenching. Yes, 92. I'll be drinking beer until we reach 100 people. If you're not going to work for me, I'm not going to work for you. That's how it's going to be on these live streams. We have some standards here, okay? We need 100 people or more watching, and then we start. Until then, it's Q&A. Cheers from Chile. Man, we are all across Latin America right now. Question: care to share your 2 cents on anything from Silver State? Last lap pass on average, Joe. Oh, that was awesome. So, did you watch the e-truck electric truck, that world's dumbest class that should be just bombed into oblivion and discontinued? Even more stupid than the legends class. The e-truck guys had a main and Fai Long, the 11-year-old legend, with a Masami Hirosaka paint job and stick radio. He was in the battle for the win. And then last lap, he just launched and overtook Joe Bornhorst, stuck the landing, amazing finish. That was epic. So then he won the e-truck race with Bornhorst second and Rivkin third. Amazing podium. Amazing. He also had another close finish at DNC. He beat Drake for the bump in, I can't remember now if it was Nitro or e-buggy. Nitro, I think. Yeah. Actually, it was Nitro because I had the electrical failure and then I watched it. So I watched it from the driver's stand. That was it, yeah. He just beat Drake. They crossed the line tumbling. Andrew Knight, this dude is the GOAT of RC. Where's Lefty? Lefty has given Cavalieri the GOAT title, but I'll happily take it. Mau Graphics is in the house. Limoncello. Tonight, only beer. So we're fluctuating between like 87, 92. I haven't seen 100 people yet. Come on. Atkins Diet in the house. Mark Atkins from Atkins Diet. What's upper, JQ? What's upper? I never heard that before. What do you think of Schumacher entering the 1/8 scale game? Well, they've been talking about it for years. Never actually happened. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Okay, Degan is available. How do I actually invite him? Oh, God. I need to invite Degani. The stream suffers right now. It's because I'm trying to open my email. I don't know if that can somehow affect it. Let's see. 98 people. That's insane. We almost have to start now. Yeah, but I don't know if they're actually going to do it because it's been a rumor for so many years. And I think if Schumacher do join, it's only going to be with electric 8 scale, not nitro. So I don't really care either way. Okay, 94 people. Has it been over 100? I haven't seen that. We got another super chat here. David Bauman. David Bauman is the IT guy working on Mayako Discord and webshop stuff. But he smokes. And unless he stops smoking, he can't go to. He's not allowed in June. So, David or Marvin, you should stop smoking. Seriously, it's easy. I'm 39 years old now. I stopped smoking my entire life. You know, it's easy. Just stop. Why do you let Adam Drake continue to beat you? Well, you know what? To be honest, I had Adam covered, but I had an electrical problem in Nitro. I'm very mad about that. Next time we race, for sure, I'll beat him. I think that will be Worlds, actually, if he's going. Whoa, whoa, whoa! We have another super chat. Bomb Racing. No BS tech talk. Anyone on the fence, course is 100% worth it, even if you think you know everything. E-Truggy for the win. After that, E-Truggy, I nearly withdrew this. Oh, because I was talking crap about E-Truggy. Well, thank you very much for the kind words. Yes, the online course, we all be actually releasing the videos on YouTube. You can see what all the fuss is about. Maybe it's my IFMAR logo here. I think I might. Are we back? I think it's stabilized. I need to get back in there. There we go.
I'm back.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Well, I can hear you, but you're like, we're cutting in and out, so I disconnected and reconnected.
Hello?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, hello. Maybe it's better if you call me on the other way.
Degani can't hear me, or can't hear him. Are we back now? Back now. Looks like we're back. Course 100% worth every dime. That is great to hear. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear
Is
you
Mr.
now.
Degani there?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's this damn internet.
Yeah, I don't know if it's you or me or what. Maybe it's better if you just call me like before.
You're
Why
driving
don't you just
around.
call me?
You're
Yeah,
messing
I'm
up my live
driving, but
stream, Degani.
why don't you just call me like on the normal phone thing? Can't you just call me? This thing sucks.
Thing, it just takes a shit. It says it's like I'm gonna blame the Drakes. Why the hell is my internet so bad? Seriously. Yeah, it's a good thing I started writing books instead. Oh, Are we back now? Are we back? Can you hear me? I'm gonna go firebomb the offices of this internet provider. Okay, let's just quickly get on with things here. Okay. Can you see my screen here? You should see a car and you should see a setup sheet. Got Salty Joe in the house. So we got a reboot here. You should see a car in the setup sheet. Do you follow? Everything good? Yes. Awesome. This is a new setup I made for a Finnish bumpy, rough track, kind of loose. I'll post a video later on and link it in the description of this live. But anyway, I want to go over a few things here. For the Mayako, actually, this is a pretty normal diff setup, 12-12-6. Compare it to something like a 10-10-5 or maybe even thinner on many other cars. Car just works well with slightly thicker diff oils, and also the Ultimate Racing diff oils I use seem to run a bit thinner. So 12-12-6, pretty standard setup. The gearing 45-14, it's different to many other brands who have like 12 pinions or 13. 14 is really good. It smooths everything out. Acceleration is smoother. I can drive around the car. I can drive around the track without being so aggressive. I can use less throttle, maintain speed better. I like this gearing. So let's get into this setup. What's special about this setup? There are a few things. One thing is the 5-hole pistons, 5 1.45, 5 1.5. So 4-5 front, 5 rear. And another thing, which is that the Mayako pistons are standard 15.9 millimeter size. And there are other ones which are smaller. Kyoshos are smaller, HB are smaller, TLR are smaller. They are about 15.8. And I actually have some prototype pistons which are 15.8. So there's a 0.1 size difference in the outer diameter of the piston. So on a track like this, a rough track, bumpy track, I'm not going to try and share a video because it's not going to work anyway, right? With this awesome Finnish internet I have. On a track like this, the smaller piston size just makes the suspension more plush. You have a bit more grip, better bump handling, and it's not something you can achieve by changing the size of the piston holes. So it's something unique to the piston size. So I went away from the standard 15.9 piston, changed to a 15.8, and then these holes. And that really helped the car. It was a lot better in the bumps, and I had a bit more grip. So that's the first sort of special thing. Second, well, before the second special thing, I just ran normal black Mayako springs front and back. Droop settings, pretty standard. I run the long shaft in the front, which is an option. Because I run emulsion, I can do that. Because on up travel, the piston nut goes up in the cap, but there's no bladder there, so that's fine. Then the second special thing. So for bump steer, I run these balls in the up position, but 0 shims under the ball. And if I show you this, hopefully you will see a picture. Do you see a picture here? You see a red shim between the Ackerman plate and the ball. Now the steering link ball, you can also change the direction of it. So that will either raise or lower the location of the link. So you have that adjustability, and then you also can add or remove shims between the Ackerman plate and the ball. So 85 people, I guess this is working. Just someone write a comment if you see this picture with the red shim. Anyway, this is the standard setting, a 2mm shim between the ball and the Ackerman plate, and on the outside there's no shim. That's what we run most of the time everywhere. But I've been sort of testing bump steer now, really to dial in the setup now that the rest of the setup is sort of figured out. And what I did here was I actually removed this shim. So why did I remove the shim? Let's figure that out. So it has to do with bump steer. So let's see if this video works. Hopefully you see a video on screen now. Let's see now. So this, normally when people think about bump steer, they just think about the car and how you compress the suspension and maybe the front wheels toe out when you compress it and then go back. But looking at the car and the bump steer when the wheels are straight is less interesting. To really understand how it affects your handling, I think what makes more sense is to look at the outside tire when you turn the wheels. So you turn the wheel, and this is now the outside tire. So the car is heading down the page here, and the car is turning left. So if we now try and play the video with this amazing internet we have, let's see what happens. So what I do now is I compress the suspension. And you can see how the steering angle changes. So now the steering angle is less. So it's towing out. And then when I raise the suspension, you can see it goes back. Now, here's the thing. Let's think about that. What happens? When you enter a corner, you steer the wheels and the front dives. That means that outside tire that's dominant because the load is transferring onto the outside tire as you're turning. The outside tire is more important for turning into a corner. When it bumps out like that, it smooths out steering into the corner, right? So toe out as the suspension compresses can smooth out your steering. But I was having an issue where I felt like my car was smooth into the corner, but then sort of, especially in this long sweeper on the track where you turn in, then you get on power, what I felt was my car would begin to oversteer, or if not oversteer, just turn more when I got on power. So let's think about that. So right now, the front end has collapsed. It's compressed. The front tire has towed out. Now we are mid-corner and we start to get on power. So when we get on power, what happens? The front will go up. It will rise. And watch what happens to tire. If we play the video, did you see that? So the tire, now the front is compressed. Then we get on power. The front decompresses and rises. And the outside tire, boom, did you see that? Turns more. It goes back to more steering angle. So the problem with a bump steer setting like this, which maybe looks just fine when your wheels are straight and you say, oh, I have a bit of bump out on compression. If you turn the wheel and look what happens, then you'll learn to understand that, hey, actually what happens is my car is turning in smooth. Then I get in the corner and I've turned the wheel the amount I want to get the steering through the corner. Then I get on power, the front rises and the outside tire turns more, which means that mid-corner when I get on power, the car will begin to oversteer. So that's not really what I wanted. So what I did was, like I showed you, if I could just show you here, what I did was I removed this shim. So that raises the steering link here. what that does is it reduces the toe out on compression. And because of that, the effect was removed. This effect was removed where when I get on power, the wheel turns more. I removed it. So now when I got on power, the wheel didn't turn more, which meant that I got in the corner, I got on power, the steering of the car didn't change. It felt much more linear. And I really liked that. So that was a very good setting I did. So I have up and up on the steering link balls and 0 shims in each end. Kevin Mendes, $10. Thank you, Kevin. But no question. Very easy life for me here. I get super chats without questions. Awesome. Oh, no. Kevin posted his question in a separate post. Lucky I saw that. Hey, Joe, what do you think about the new Agama buggy? The N1 concept, do you think that's the future? And what do you see in the laydown shock advantage? Okay, let's remember this question and get back to that. Amazing what looking at shit can do. Exactly, yeah. Some of these things are pretty basic, but it's like the hurdle is really to just look at it and think about it. Okay, let's move on. If we look at the front end, otherwise the setup is pretty standard. So I don't run a servo saver ever. We have this ability to eliminate the servo saver completely on the Mayako. So I just have a plastic one-piece steering bell crank. Awesome. It's like a 10 scale one, no servo saver. Then this is a good setting here, the knuckle plate. So on the steering knuckle, we have this carbon plate. I ran the standard long one. When you have a long plate, so a shorter steering link, so the in position, that would mean that you have more acumen. So your steering will be smoother. You could say smoother initially and less steering in tight corners. So I like to run that in the out position. So longer link, less acumen, more initial steering, more steering in tight corners. We also have an even shorter plate so that you can, in the out position, get an even longer steering link, even less acumen, even more aggressive steering, even more steering in hairpins. So I have sort of a middle setting right now. That works well. For the shock, new production towers only have the 1, 2, 3 hole. So it's the middle hole on the new production tower. Link, middle. Very happy when I run setups where everything's in the middle. Knuckle. I'm going to show this to you. Here we go. Can you see that? This is, the confusion never ends with this, which direction I'm supposed to turn it. Do you see the 2 red shims? So those are aluminium shims, 1 millimeter thick. You can place 2 of them on one side or one either side. I have one either side, placing the knuckle in the height-wise in the middle. And this is because this setup was developed on the computer, on the laptop. I was studying roll center settings, front and rear, and this is what I ended up with. That's why it's in the middle. But I'm very happy when stuff ends up in the middle. It's almost like it's designed well. So you have adjustment in either direction. Then I have the KPI 1 and custom 1. So KPI 1, I should have shown it just now. Let's quickly go back. KPI 1 means that I have a lot of inclination on the knuckle. Focus, you bastard. There we go. So you see how the knuckle is inclined a lot. Camber may be 0, but the knuckle is inclined. It turns around an inclined axis. So this is what we call the pillow ball C-hub setup, basically, the grandpa setup. That's what Ronnefalk calls it. My setups are grandpa setup, and he's Lewis Hamilton, basically. Actually, Lewis Hamilton is almost a grandpa, so I don't know. But anyway, top driver, grandpa. I have the grandpa setting. But my mission in life is to create a grandpa setting which he will prefer and he will start running. Because a car that's very fast but also easy to drive, that's superior. That's an advantage. So, yes, I run KPI1 with a lot of inclination, which smooths out the steering response. Car is easier to drive. Then caster 1 to bring back a bit of response. So a lot of inclination, less caster, good compromise. That's what I like to run. Knuckle, middle height position, already mentioned that. Shock all the way outside. So I have this theory and opinion that the further out we can run the front shocks, the better it is. So just build your setup around that. So I have the shock all the way out. Front arm position in the middle, front to back. So good. Again, I could adjust it in either direction. We have a question, a super chat even. Man, I can't miss those. Does this bump steer setting only help on bumpy tracks? No. So I didn't do this for the bumps. I'll upload a video of some laps on this track, and I'll post a link in the description of this video. So if you are watching this back, or if you're watching now, remember to go back and then watch the laps of the track. So in front of the driver's stand, there's a long sweeper, left-hand sweeper. And there I felt like I would go in the sweeper, and then after you kind of gone into it, you can increase your throttle. You can gas it more. And when I did that, I would have to at the same time reduce steering, or the car would oversteer. And that really annoyed me. So then with the bump steer, I could make it so I could go in the corner, get on throttle, and not have to do anything to the steering. So I had the right steering angle. I just got on the throttle, and the car would just maintain that same steering, or maybe have a slight push, but definitely not start to oversteer. And that way, it was much easier and more natural for me to drive. So I didn't do it for the bumps. I made it for the cornering. So this bump steer is something you should think about and adjust depending on the track layout more. But when you find a very good setting, you'll probably run it at most tracks. And then let's say that you just had this situation where I want the car to have more on-power steering. Then you could go back, add that shim there, and then your front tire, outside tire would turn more when you get on throttle. So it would be a way to add some on-power steering to the car. You see what I mean? So it's a good setup feature that's often overlooked, even by me. I mean, I should have been adjusting this more, but I didn't. So now I did. And I thought I would tell you about it. So yeah, bump steer, very valuable. And it's not just for bumps, actually. It's for driving on a smooth track, cornering, because as the suspension moves and the car dives and rolls, that's when the steering angles change. So it doesn't have to be a physical bump you drive through. It can just be the suspension moving as it would if you drive through a bump. You see what I mean? So track can be smooth. You're driving into a corner. Bump steer affects that. It affects the feel of steering. So, yeah. All explained in the Invisible Speed course lives. Yes, but maybe actually not this. Bump steer, I don't think, is in this first batch of videos. We do ride height, droop, camber, springs, and damping, I think. Not bump steer. Do that later. So for what we do in Invisible Speed is we have like 4 weeks of live videos, kind of similar to this, but it's Zoom live. So instead of you being in a chat, you will be in video. You can ask questions. We can talk to each other. So it's a bit better than this. And so we've done 1 week. The next week is in July. And now we have homework. So we're going to together go through ride height, droop, camber, shock oil, springs. And everyone will test on their home tracks, provide their opinions and feedback on the settings. And we'll really learn to understand each different setup feature. And then in July, we'll introduce some new things to try. So we start with the basics and move on. So definitely worth it, invisiblespeed.net. And all those meetings are archived also. With the gearing, no. So maybe I would run a 48 sometimes, but I really like the feeling of this. 45-14, 49-13. I like the feeling of this on most tracks, I would have to say. It's good. We had another super chat question. JQ, I found a modification for the TLR that adds 4 degrees of KPI. Would you consider this a beneficial mod for the buggy? Congratulations with Mayako. I think on the TLR, definitely, because I made some videos and talked about this before where the TLR is kind of... the TLR has an aggressive front end and aggressive rear end. So you definitely would benefit from running the KPI on the TLR. Also, since we just talked about bump steer, that's something you could look at, because an issue that TLR drivers seem to have is when they get on power, things go crazy. Okay. So think about this. Can you make it so when you look at your outside tire, so we bring back the video, when you look at your outside tire and okay, you compress the suspension and then you raise the front end back up, what does this tire do? So in this example, raise the front end, the outside tire turns more. You definitely don't want that. Maybe even find a bump steer setting where as you raise the front end, the outside tire toes out. That will help to calm the car down a bit. So when you get on power, it won't tie itself into knots and do donuts. So yeah, that's for all you TLR fanboys. Always interesting when you go into science mode. Science mode for the win. 48 minutes. We wasted so much time in getting 100 people on board and with my shitty internet. We still have to talk about current affairs. I think Lefty will come on for that. Anyway, let's finish this setup sheet. What's this here? Salty Joe, can you set it on the outside close to the wheel? Can you set it on the outside close to the wheel? Yes. I see what you mean. So you are talking about adding, removing shims on the inside or the outside. It's the same thing. So if you add shims, you are angling the link. If you add them on the inside between the link and the Ackerman plate, if on your buggy the link is on the underside of the Ackerman plate on the inside, and then if it's above the plate on the outside, adding shims inside outside, same thing. Removing shims inside outside, same thing. It has to do with the angle of the link. So looking at the link from the front, for example, what angle is it? Is it horizontal? Is the inside lower or outside lower? That's what it has to do with. Not going to draw the picture and all that shit, but it basically has to do with the angle of the link in relation to the lower arm and upper arm. As the suspension moves, what arc does the steering link follow? But anyway, play with that and look at your wheel, outside wheel. Turn the wheels, look what the outside wheel is doing. Bump steer work the same for pivot ball or opposites. So same. So it's a mechanical thing. It will always work the same. The effect on it and what you want. I mean, I should say the effect of it is the same, but your goal, what you want to achieve, might be different. So if you have a car that has a setting where, let's say you have 0 KPI and the car naturally wants to push on power. So you get on power and it just pushes. Like a, I don't know what, like a Zamboni. It pushes like a Zamboni. You're entering the corner too fast, you go through the ice rink. So if you have a car like that, you maybe want a toe bump. You want a bump steer setting where, as the front end rises, the outside wheel turns more. Maybe you want that because you want to introduce more steering on power. maybe then on a pillow ball car or this KPI 1 that I have, already the KPI will, I should say also, I should say, if you have a pillow ball car and you have the Mugen style rear where the rear wants to turn the car, then the rear end, as you get on power, will want to rotate the car. So you want to counteract that. So then you would want the outside tire to toe out as you get on power. So you would want the opposite bump steer setting on a car like that. Does that make sense? Yes. So bump steer, yeah. Well worth a look. Bump steer is for going into and out of corner to make it how you like it to drive through corners. Exactly. Has a large effect on the steering feel in and out of corners. And also how it handles bumps. How the car handles bumps. Because bump out on compression will help the car go through bumps. Won't catch bumps as much. Okay, let's move on. We spent way too much time on bump steer. S-Works buggy toes in on the outside drastically as it rolls into mid-corner. Yes, that would increase steering. Lefty the Great has entered the building. But we can't get in on the stream yet because we're talking setup and he hates that. We're going to go into current affairs here soon. But let's finish this setup quickly. So A plate, all the way down in the A plate, middle in the B plate. So reduced kick up, which is not the setting actually for a rough track. But the car was so damn good that I left it. But to be honest, I still want to try different settings for A plate and B plate. And actually maybe C and D also. But the setup was so good, I wanted to post it. We have the ability to raise and lower the diff in the front. Very often we run the diff all the way down. And that's what I did here. Okay, what else? Ride height, relatively low, 24 front, 26 rear. Okay, here's another special thing. Yeah, we have to remember to talk about that still. Agama. Very little camber. I run very little camber. Most of the time when I adjust people's cars, I reduce camber and they are happy with it. So really, when you set your cars up, find the right camber setting because less camber, more grip. And you will enjoy more grip. More consistent car to drive around the track. Another really special thing. Very thin rear anti-roll bar. Normally 2.3, 2.6, 2.2, 2.6 is what I run. But now I went 2.3, 2.4. Very thin rear roll bar, but it just worked. The thin rear roll bar allows the car to roll downwards more. So it's not as likely to jack itself up, flip over from bumps, or get loose suddenly. So I have more overall grip. So I like that. This rear setup is one that Ronnefalk likes to run, and I want to develop this. Like I said, I want to work on something that I know he likes and try to make it more palatable, easier to drive for everyone. So what he does is he runs a 1 mil shim, but then he runs the C and D plate as if he had the 2 mil shim. So what happens there? You have a 1 mil shim under the gearbox, so middle diff height, but low C and D plate. So these are actually 1 mil lower than they would be if you ran everything as recommended. So 1 mil shim, tower in the correct position when you run that shim, but the C and D plate, low. So the inside position for the arm is really low. And then with a link, you end up, when you study the setup on the computer, you end up with a position like this. So middle on the tower, long up on the number 2 plate, which is a shorter plate, allowing for a slightly longer link. sorry, it's a longer plate allowing for a slightly shorter link. So the long position on the two plate is between the two columns on the stock number 1 plate. Okay, so long on number 2, middle between the two columns. That's where you end up. And then for the height, middle height. I like it when you can run setups where everything's in the middle. Makes me feel good as a designer. You have adjustment in both directions. Amazing. So why the low arm? That has to do with jacking. Go on my YouTube channel and watch the jacking video. Then you understand. So when the arm is low on the inside, there's a much lower chance that it jacks the car up, flips it over, whatever. So low arm on the inside. And then another thing, the shock is all the way laid down. So this is a very different setup to what I would normally run, but it worked. Super loose, rough track. Car was very easy to drive with a lot of grip, front and rear. 2.4 rear anti-roll bar, rear shock laid down, rear arm very low on the inside. So I guess those were really the main points about the setup. So running the smaller piston size, 1.45 front, 1.5 rear. The bump steer we discussed, adjusting the bump steer so that the outer wheel doesn't increase steering angle as the front rises. That smoothed it out a lot. Then thin rear anti-roll bar, rear shock laid down all the way, relink in this particular position, and then C&D plate very low. So any comments or questions about this setup before we get Lefty on here? We can talk about Agama with Lefty. Lefty is truly great. Words of JQ DNC 2022. Did I really say that? Did y'all see the sale OS had on their engines? It flopped so bad. I didn't. Maybe Lefty did. We can talk about that. Do you use RC Crew Chief program? No, I use SolidWorks CAD program. I draw everything in 2D and control everything myself, so I know what the hell is going on. I don't use that program. But if you don't have a CAD program, then RC Crew Chief could be an option for sure. Okay, Morgan Motorsports. These cars are adjustable. Do you feel it is valuable to revert to kit setup frequently and starting again with a different strategy? Well, if you're running a Mayako, then yes, because the kit setups are well thought out. Some brands, the kit setups make no sense, so you shouldn't. But I think the most valuable thing is basically what we are doing now in the Invisible Speed course, which is learning for ourselves what each individual thing does. Because from a kit setup to adjust the car to your liking, you don't need to make big changes, really. Like if you get a Mayako now, build it stock, you can literally just adjust camber, bump steer as discussed here, diff oils, arm height, rear toe, front toe, small things like this, not change the entire car. You don't need to touch any upper links. You don't need to change shock positions this way, that way, pistons, gearing, all that stuff. You don't need to. You make small adjustments and you can really change the feel of the car. So learn all of those things and then you really understand what to do, what changes to make. And also what you learn is that you learn to understand how a combination of changes can be better. Maybe one change is bad, but you make 2 or 3 changes together and that can be better. And also, like in this comment, it seems many times you begin making changes that simply negate other previous changes. That can also be true. So you learn the combinations that work together. Damn, you could just answer super chat only if you wanted. Yeah, apparently. I never got super chats before like this. Big shot status. Okay, let's bring Lefty on here, shall we? We need to get rid of that background. Whoa, Lefty, what were you doing?
Nothing.
You weren't ready?
No, just looking at something.
Oh my god. Oh.
I
Heck
got a
no.
techno. Oh yeah. I got a MT410. Thank you to Matt Walter that I'm going to build and send it. What's up?
That's blasphemy. You can't say that on my live stream.
I did it just for you. So we got some super chats in her. What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
I thought Greg was coming on
that
her.
every 1/8. Fucking my internet took a shit when we were trying to do that. Why does it seem it was really bad? Why does it seem that every 8 scale runs a bunch of toe out on the front? Why? That's a good question. I honestly think it's because the bump steer and all of the rest is just so messed up. Like, I wonder why the pillow ball guys want to run so much toe out. I thought I understood before, but I don't really. Like, honestly, I don't understand why they do it. I don't think it's a good thing. It makes that non-linear feeling even worse that those pillow balls have. And now I have a car with a inclined front end. I don't have that non-linear feeling even with a KPI because I don't run crazy steering angles. So
hey, why don't we go and answer Kevin Mendy's super chat? He's actually a big fan of the NNRC
one.
and us.
Yeah,
he's up in RC Madness in Connecticut. You've seen it run.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it run in person.
I saved this for last, but just to finish off that question about why we run so much toe out, it's mainly the pillow ball cars, and I think the reason for it could be the fact that coupled with that rear end that Mugen has, which the rear end rotates the car, when you get on power and the outside tire toes out a lot, that reduces the steering from the front end. So the front end makes the car push. So it neutralizes that oversteer from the rear a bit. Does that make sense? If not, go back and listen to it. You'll get it. So front tires toe out. Front outer tire toes out as you get on power. Front rises up. The rear is turning the car. The front counteracts that. I think that's one reason. But still, I think that some of the pillow ball cars are just extreme. I'm not a fan of big bump steer changes like that. It's not good, I think. Okay. Hey, Degan is back. Should we risk this? Should we add Degani to the stream? You're muted.
This is high tech for Greg, you know? So
should we get Degani on?
What's up, Joe? Okay. What's up, Salty Joe?
Hey, Degani.
Yeah. What's up?
Nah, it's your internet, not mine.
He's good. I can hear him.
I turned the camera off. You don't need to see my ugly face.
No, we don't need to see you.
No, we're not seeing him.
Okay.
You just missed the setup talk. You just missed the setup talk.
I've been listening. You've had me on hold the whole damn time.
Oh, awesome. So let me ask you about Silver State, because that was a super rough track. I believe you did the same thing with the rear gearbox shim. You had a 1 mil shim.
No.
But then you ran the C&D low, right?
No, I always run the no shim under the diff at Joey races.
No shim, but then you ran the... What did you do then?
No shim.
Someone was in our Mayako meeting talking about it.
About what?
About how you ran your arm blocks.
I run them lower. Ronald Falk style or whatever.
Right. So 1 mil lower. Yeah. So the arm lower.
Yeah, I haven't tested
Okay.
that back to back to know what that does yet. So that's one of the next things I'm gonna test.
Okay. Okay. So
But I do
anything
know that.
special about Silver State?
Well, I can tell you one thing: your rear sway bar in shock position will not work on these tracks over here.
I really curious to have you try it. To be honest,
You
I think it will
just
work.
it
Like
doesn't.
how the Silver
It,
State
it-
was, I think it will.
no, it doesn't. I already tested it. When I run the shock just one position lower from middle, the car wouldn't go through the freaking rhythm section and would just spin out in the corners.
The washboard.
The washboard section, yeah, and in the corners it was just loose as hell. It's so much better in the
Do you,
middle tower position. It's amazing.
do you run the KPI 0 or 1?
I can
KPI
vouch for
one.
that. I can vouch for that because I saw that when he leaned them in, the car was absolute shite.
Yeah,
I saw that, and because I remember you saying, "I'm gonna lean him in like Ron Falk and
It,
JQ likes him," and then he went out there and it
no,
looked like
no.
it didn't work good.
Ronefalk has them laid down more. He says I have the grandpa set up. Maybe Degani has the grandpa set up.
Oh, he's a grandpa.
yeah. No, once you have
Yeah.
the rear shock in the middle location of the tower, it's perfect.
So on the new towers with 3 holes, that's basically the outside setting. That's the middle hole Degani's talking about.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have the prototype
Yeah.
rear tower and it's up high, and I was in the middle hole.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
the
then
outside
it's
position now.
then it's
Cut out. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Hello.
you, Greg. It sounds like
Okay.
JQ's internet's going on, so we'll just talk about Silver State until he gets back.
Right. So he says on the new tower, the outside hole in the new tower is the middle hole in the prototype tower.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I got it.
I believe.
Got
Is he back? Yeah, he's coming back here. Washboards look like crap. Is there a driver who likes them? Yeah, Ty Tasman. He did a good drive through them and overtook Mayfield there. It was pretty good. Where did Greg go? Oh, okay. Yeah, JQ is having internet issues. He'll be back, everybody, in a minute. He's buffering there. There he is.
Well, I think we have to
buffering.
eliminate you, Degani. Every time you come on, it starts buffering.
That is your internet.
It's me and Lefty have been talking the whole time.
Yeah, but it
Russia's
affects me
cut off.
somehow. I swear.
That's because Putin's tapped into your internet.
Yeah, maybe. Or Drake. Someone
So anyways,
thinks maybe Drake.
The middle hole in the prototype tower was amazing. So you're saying that's outside on your production tower now?
No, the middle on the prototype is same as middle on the.
Oh, okay.
Don't
Got
listen
it,
to me. I had that completely wrong.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
JQ,
so anything else special about Silver State setup or what you learned or?
I'll tell you what Greg
Um,
should.
Well, Lefty was
You
there.
won
He saw me
intermediate.
going crazy.
Mental toughness, something you could learn, JQ.
Yeah, mental toughness, JQ. What's wrong
Yep.
with you?
Okay.
See, look, he's going quiet now. So let me tell you about Greg, right? Let me tell you about Greg. You guys can listen to my full story in the NNRC podcast dropping tomorrow. So you remember how at DNC when Greg went off for his first race and his car looked like complete and total dog shit? Like it couldn't clear nothing. It looked fat, looked rich. It looked like I don't know, like the guy didn't know how to set up a car. That's exactly how his car looked at 40 plus.
With the wrong tires on it.
Right. And I knew it. As soon I was watching him, and here's the thing. While he's doing this, JQ, we got TLR, Barry Baker, and the whole TLR mafia behind me just talking enough pure crap. You know, just talking crap because Eddie Lorette was beating him. And he won. Dude, Greg went on to the pits because I saw him. He didn't even worry about doing his interview or nothing. He went right down to the pits. What did you do your interview? I can't remember. And I said, I know exactly what Greg's going to do.
Yeah, I did do an interview. Yeah.
Okay, so I missed that one. So he went down there, and I went down there about 10 minutes later because Smoker was running, and I saw him blow out. So I said, well, I'm not going to watch Smoker. So I went on and Greg was all like serious, charging up his battery of his 25-year-old Charger, you know. And he goes, Lefty, it's Vegas. And I'm going to double down with double downs. And I'm going to roll the dice. And he goes, and as soon as he like, it's like, all right, 30 minutes, you know, this is the last race of the week of the day. So he goes, hey, you know what, Lefty? Let's go. I'm tired of playing with these intermediate guys. It's about time I showed him who's the boss. And he went up there and he did that. Driving like it was 2002 and boner all the way for the win. That's probably the slowest way you could ever win an RC race. Just watch Greg Degani do his intermediate main. Guys were blowing out behind him, you know, like
Yeah,
Drew
well, it was
Shogun.
yeah, he couldn't keep up with the pace I was doing. He just was crashing. It was funny.
He he wasn't on no blistering pace. He just wasn't making mistakes, and his car went where he wanted it to go.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
So tires
Tired-
was the big change.
And mental
Yes.
toughness.
Yeah, tires. The right tire, it was good. Can drive
Yeah, I
fast,
think
you know.
that. I mean, now you're retired until next year, DNC, basically. Oh, no, Worlds.
He's going RCGP.
Maybe.
Are you gonna go there? Italy?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm really confident that second half of this year our cars are going to be super dialed. So I'm curious to see how you like it.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot. I did a lot of back-to-back tests, you know, with the shock, 5-hole versus 6-hole. I did that twice. I did 2 tests on that. And shock positions during qualifying, I'm changing that. I know what that does, you know. So I've got a lot better feel for the car now, what everything does. It's a couple other things I'd like to test. But one thing I did notice, the big thing on the car is that you cannot really run. I mean, you can run the same diff oil front and center, but it's better to run slightly thicker in the front than the rear, because that keeps the rear of the car from trying to overtake the front of the car on the slow bump sections. Sometimes if you're driving through like little S turns that have bumps, like Silver State had, the rear of the car would kind of hop out because it wants to go forward, but it can't go anywhere, right? So the thicker front diff oil pulls, it just makes it car more calm in the rear. It keeps the rear of the car down, and it pulls it around the track a lot better. So instead of me running 10-10-5, I had 7-7-5. I went there with 10-7-5. I went to 7-7-5 and then ended up going back to 10-7-5. Was much better.
That's actually funny you say that, because this track I was at, I had the thought that I need to try even thicker diffs, which kind of is counterintuitive because the track was loose and bumpy. But I felt like I could go to a thicker front diff to reduce the chance of diffing out, accelerating and stuff. And it really didn't feel like the diffs were too thick. So when I go back there, I'm going to try a thicker front diff. So maybe even have like a 15-12-6 or something.
Right. I think it has to be at least 3,000 thicker in the front than the middle, no matter what condition you're driving on.
At Silver State, which pistons did you run? Did you run the 5-hole?
Yeah. The Mayako 5-hole. Drilled to 1.5. At the DNC, I just put them in. I just assumed they were 1.5, but they weren't. They were probably 1.45.
Yeah, like,
I don't know what they.
They're like 1.48 or something.
Yeah, so I didn't realize
someone
that.
asked Yeah, go on.
No, so I actually drilled them to 1.5, and then my front. I mean, I was like running 42.5 weight low C oil front, 40 weight in the rear with the 1.6 pistons, but I actually could have been slightly thicker in the front. I probably could have went to 45 in the front. I think once I get out in this, I mean, it was cold in there. It was like 68 degrees or something. It's 65. It was kind of cold. So I think in the sun, you know, outside I can get up to 45, 40, you know, maybe even 50, 40. I don't know. It depends on how hot it is.
Did you try?
I was a little bit too thick in the rear. Yeah, remember I did the 6-hole Mike Walker setup. I tested that back to back.
You like that?
Not
at
enough
RCGP
grip
though.
RCGP, because that track has a lot of grip. If there's a lot of grip, you go 6-hole. maybe even with the bladders, it's got a lot of grip. I felt that the bladders felt good in the bumps, but it just didn't have enough grip out of the corner. Like I tried to go for the triple, I would just spin out and go into the infield. Like, but I think if there's enough grip, you definitely can get away with it. But I think at PMB, that was a problem I had, was not going to the 5-hole pistons. I just stuck with the 6-hole from GP, and I was kind of lazy. And not only that, there wasn't really enough time really to do anything. But I mean, there was time. I should have done it, but I didn't realize that. Now I understand exactly what it does.
Yeah.
It just gives your car grip.
Yeah, well, I would describe it in the way that the 5-hole piston makes the car more calm and stable and slow in a way, right? And then when you go on high grip, it starts moving around too much and just doesn't feel as good.
Right.
Then you go to a piston with 6-hole piston, for example. Then what happens is it sort of stiffens the car up in a way where it stays more flat and it can handle that higher grip.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't think you could put thick enough shock oil in
it.
Yeah, you couldn't go thick enough in the 5-hole to make it have that feeling.
Exactly. Yeah. So you change the number of holes in the piston depending on the track layout and grip level and what kind of bumps there are. So if you want the car to be more calm and stable, your car feels nervous, you want to calm it down, then you go 5-hole. If your car feels lazy and soft, even though you're already running thick shock oils, but it just feels soft and lazy and imprecise, then you go 6-hole or 7-hole or even 8-hole.
Right.
So that's what I would do.
I probably could have ran the 42, and then I had 40 weight in the rear. It was a little bit thick. I could have probably ran 37. I just didn't want to be caught with being under oiled in this main. Like I've been so many mains where I've had too light of oil, and it's kind of screwed me. I didn't care if it was a little bit too thick. It was better to be thicker than too light.
Yeah. Thank you, Magnus Berglund. Great discussion. Lefty's looking at his phone. He's all zoned out. He doesn't know about setup. One final thing about the pistons.
I was listening.
At this Portuguese Euros track, super high grip. When I got there, I had the 5-hole pistons in from wherever, but the car was just too lazy. So then I went 6-hole, then I even went 7-hole. So I ended up running 7-hole on Portuguese track. When most tracks, I seem to like the 5 or 6-hole. So they.
What is the handout tire going to be for? What is the handout tire going to be for RCGP in Italy?
Actually, there's some news coming out about that shortly. David will probably slap me if I tell you what it is, but yeah, there's some.
Got it.
Some good news for you,
JQ.
Degani.
Oh, really?
Wait.
Yeah, I think
Sounds like some
posting
double
this
downs
week,
are going to
they
be.
said. Maybe tomorrow.
Hey, quick question. Magnus, how much is a gallon or 5 liters of fuel, runner time? Because I had somebody who was, it's like 70 euro, you think? 60 euro?
I don't know, 60, 70, probably.
Yeah, because I was trying to tell my mate, he's like, oh, they're going to charge 60 euros for fuel at the Worlds. I'm like, that's what the price is. Like, it's like 62 bucks.
Where's the super chat? I mean, it's right on YouTube.
It's in YouTube, yeah.
Next to your comment, where you post a comment, there's a sign for it, I think.
A $ sign or something.
Yeah.
Look at Greg. But you know what? I'm so glad that Greg won, because then we had to have an epic Greg Degani interview. The last interview of the day, and it was him. And
what time was it, by the way?
Oh, like 11.
Oh, okay.
Like 10:30.
How was that race for? Like, what time did you start? What time did you finish? Did you get all runs full length? Like, how was that?
Yes. Yeah. It was, they started every day at 8 in the morning, and the last races, well, for Truggy, I TQ'd the first and second qualifier, so I didn't even come back for the third qualifier, which was great. But the first, I think on Friday, they were running till like 1:30 in the morning on Truggy and e-buggy day.
Yeah, that was the latest day.
That was the longest day. And then Saturday, I don't know, when did we get done on Saturday? About 10, maybe?
No, Saturday was long too.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Friday. Thursday night was the longest night. That was 1:30 in the morning, and then Friday night was buggy qualifying. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was too late. I was there towards the end, so
Yeah, but the
know.
good thing about this race is that you can go somewhere and come back. That's like I think the only time I got down there 9:30 was Sunday. Every other day was down there 10 something because I would sit off and do my work, go down, get a coffee, and then head there. That's why I told you this is a race you should go. International guys should
timing
go to
wise,
this race.
it's always kind of been awkward, so I haven't been able to make it out. Of course, it's good because it's Vegas, it's convenient.
It's super
fast,
convenient.
Yeah, because you got tables and nice comfortable chairs and tables, and only thing you really need to set up is like run your extension cord, and that's it.
And the dust wasn't too bad. I mean, it was bad, to be honest. But I mean, I'm home and I'm not feeling. I'm got a little scratchy throat. That's about it.
I'd probably rather go to Silver State than DNC.
Yeah, it's way better. It's way better. The temperature stays the same in the building day and night. Doesn't matter how hot it is outside. It's always like 68 degrees in the building. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the first race that I went to. When we went in 2018, 2019.
They've got a bar there.
Sent our $1.99 super chat and says Mayako should send me to Italy for Degani. Mike Walker wants to install some 6-hole pistons.
Right.
Right.
Hey, Mike Walker.
Gunn is not very happy about that.
Yeah. Well, I told him.
Hey, so Joseph, Greg, who impressed you this weekend at Silver State? Besides Little Bump.
Well, I already knew Little Bump was fat, and I didn't need him to pass Joe Bornhorst to know he's awesome.
Greg says
that's why he's like
5 years
number one
he'd be
driver.
beating all these guys.
10 years.
Really? So in 5 years' time,
Wait. Let me give you my theory about what happened at Silver State. Okay. So Mayfield, nowhere in qualifying, kind of struggled. It seemed
always.
Like the nitro buggy, he pulled it together, right? But who was super fast? Tebow
was fast.
Right?
Cavallari.
You know why that was? Because it's Vegas. The Jesus freaks doing well. Because they are in their hotel rooms preparing for the next day. And Mayfield, all these other guys drinking beers on the strip. That's the explanation to it. So yeah, you could buy beer and mix drinks right at the track. Even Ty Tessman was doing really well at this race, right?
Ooh, did you see Tessman and Mayfield's incident?
I did.
That was cool.
Did you see that, Degani?
Yeah.
Did you see that, Greg?
Oh, yeah. Gord was
what's
pissed
your
off.
opinion of it?
I was all the way on the right side. I mean, I didn't. Mayfield has a video where it shows that Ty got loose.
It is. I saw the video too. I think it was a racing incident. No, at first I thought it was Mayfield, but you can see like Ty. So as they come out of, so Ty is kind of going over to the outside. Like Mayfield's coming up the inside, and then all of a sudden like Ty gets loose and then kind of hooks it into Mayfield, and that's when Mayfield blasts him off. Now when you do that at speed, you can't really see that. Because I was watching it on TV because I was not there. And then, but I did slow it down on the NNRC podcast that will be out tomorrow. By the way, episode 188 that Joseph is not on. It will be on there. And Max and I slow it down and you can see. And it really was a racing incident. If anything, looks like Ty turns into. So Gord's thing was, oh, well, that was Ty's line because Gord stopped and talked to me for about 5 minutes. And while Gord talked to me, all I could think was, wow, Gord's beard has less gray hair in it than mine. How is that possible? But anyway, he said that that Ty, that was his natural line going wide on that jump. So he didn't jump into the sand because a lot of people were jumping into the sandbags at the 180 at the top. So he said Ty was naturally going to go wide. Huh?
Maybe I have to do a video analysis of it.
Yeah, you should check it out. But I think it was a racing incident. But don't worry, Gord was pissed off and Ty was too. And I interviewed both of them, not Gord, but I asked Ty and Mayfield about the incident after the nitro buggy main when I interviewed them. This Greg getting in, and look, it's showing off his new car, his Cadillac.
Showing off his big belly. Ballet. Get in my video dropped.
I think I turned it off. Yeah, he could have definitely let off and not hit high test. I had the same thing with in the beginning of the intermediate main with Drew Moshigan. He did the same thing, got loose there. I had to let off. I could have blasted him so many times on that jump. It was crazy. What?
It's
Since he's my driver, I told him.
Sorry, go on.
I'm just saying,
I got
you could have checked up.
I agree. I mean, Mayfield is such a good driver. He could have easily just avoided that, but he used that opportunity to benefit him, basically.
Well,
I mean, that's what I think.
But you know that they've had issues before anyway. So Gord and Mayfield, they've had their run-ins before many times.
Yeah,
before.
but that's that infamous Drake takeout move. It's like as the other person is accelerating, you hit their rear end, and they're gonna do a donut, basically. Like that's.
So,
it's about timing and hitting the right place of the car. Now, I don't know if Mayfield did it intentionally, but I do know that if he wanted to be careful, and he could have been, right?
Right. I get that.
He probably
point.
went in there like, we're gonna win this shit, you know? Oh, oops. You know?
Oh God, you gotta mute Greg. He's drinking soda or something.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay, Greg.
So I wanted to say something.
You out of here or what?
He can't talk. We gotta unmute him.
He's unmuted. Okay, Greg's done, I think. Any last words, Degani?
I think he's going to a customer.
Yeah.
I wonder if people want to watch a great race, go watch the 30-minute Truggy final. That was actually a good race. Between Tebow and Cavallari. It was a very good race.
Yeah, I saw that. Cavallari's truck looked like shit.
Dude, he had I said
this is my YouTube, I can say this.
Yeah, but you don't have to you don't have to sit behind TLR for an entire main.
Yeah, but let's face it. The thing is that Cavallari had one pace. He was able to drive at his pace, and then as soon as he had to push more, he would flip off the track. Like this happened repeatedly.
Well, that happened to Fenn in his main too.
Well, yes, but that we already know and we've covered. But yes, Cavallari doesn't normally do that. Cavallari doesn't fend himself, right?
No, he doesn't.
The GOAT.
He doesn't.
So I just felt like when watching that he had one pace. He could drive the car around the track safely at one pace, and he could not go above that. And when he tried, he crashed.
Well, that was the same with Fenn.
That's how I would elaborate.
But it was a career-saving second,
opinion.
and a career-saving TQ for Cavallari, in my opinion.
I don't know.
Not career-saving,
well,
but probably...
He needs to go to the Worlds, let's put it this way. Hopefully he's vaccinated, or if he isn't, maybe another European country doesn't need a vaccine, and he can fly there and then drive into Spain. That's actually what I told Mayfield also. We're talking, and he said that he's not vaccinated, but he wants to go to the Worlds. And seeing what the rules are, and I said, hey, if France doesn't require a vaccine, fly to France, drive into Spain. Literally never been stopped at the border, right? So that's something Americans can do. They find a country they can fly into in Europe.
Well, Desmond's going.
Car and drive to Spain.
I think more are going than you think. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, you got a super chat for NOK $100. I had no
100.
Yeah,
I don't know how much that is. Norwegian crowns.
Someone from Norway gave you money?
I don't know. Just loving all the good tips from JQ. Seen hours of videos now. And yes, complete newbie. By the way, work at Telia. Hope we are not the same source of the bad internet. It is Elisa. I don't believe they are the same. No, Telia was Tele Finland. They put, so. Not the same. Newbie. You should look at the online course. Prowler 2002. Look at the Invisible Speed online course. Well worth it.
Hey, did we want to go answer this guy's question about the...
Yeah, we forgot again. Let's get to that. Someone asked if JQ cars will still be made. No, but there are still some available and there's still parts. So you're still fine if you want to run it. yeah, the Agama thing. Let's cover that and then we're done. The new, let's find a picture. Let's find a picture of this thing. What's it called?
The Nemo concept car.
Nemo.
If you guys have any more questions about
In
Silver
one.
State, ask them while I'm here. Or listen to
Buffering.
episode 188 tomorrow. Somebody please get this man some good internet.
Yeah, I would like that.
All right. So JQ is trying to find this. Maybe I can find it. His internet's too slow. So if anybody doesn't know what this car is. Oh,
okay. Someone asked about the opinion about this. I'm going to share my screen if my... Really in suicide mode here. Seriously. 10 euros. Good guess. Good guess. That's what I guessed too. Share screen. There we go. Okay. So it's this car. So you see in the side profile, you don't see any shock towers. Then you look at it. Oh, wow. Yeah, the shocks are right there. Well, okay. First things first. They say it's for the low CG. Well, actually, interestingly, if you think about it, and I did an overlay image of this, I should find it, but when you have a normal setup, especially on the front, half the shock is like above the gearbox basically, and the rest is sort of below and all that. Now the entire shock and all the mounting is above the gearbox. So I don't know really how much it lowers the center of gravity. Rear maybe more so than front, but it's like putting the shocks like this is not the best way to lower your center of gravity. Okay, just a small point, I would say. The big thing with this, though, is that the shocks are short. They're quite short, so the piston speed is much lower. So the issue that they will have is that none of our setups will work, springs or pistons. And I think that at this point, maybe they are still running very similar setups to what we have, so it won't work. And when they tried it after the RCGP in America, the problem was that it was bottoming out everywhere. So it was quite soft and it bottomed out everywhere. And that's what you will get because the speed of the piston is so low, so the shock won't pack up. So you need different settings for something like that. I'm not saying that you can't make a car work with lower piston speeds. I'm saying you need a different setup. And if you go too short, the problem is with the geometry that is used on our cars, with the shocks we have, if you go to one extreme, you can't get the compromise setup that is needed. So with our suspension, what we need is suspension that has suitable damping at low speed. So when I say low speed, I mean like the car dives onto the front, pulls in a corner, sort of these natural movements of the chassis. That's low speed damping. Then you hit a bump, land off a jump, fast hits, fast displacement of a wheel, and the shock has to react quickly. The difference between those two has to be of a certain amount so that the shock packs up and absorbs the hit. And if it isn't, your suspension will just feel too soft all the time, because we rely on the shocks packing up for our cars to work. Now in full scale, what they have is different. They have very adjustable shocks with different high speed and low speed damping, bump stops, and we just don't have that in RC. So I think they will have a challenging time to find a setup for that system. Do I think it's possible? Yes, but they can't run what we are used to running, and so far I think they are just doing that, and that's not going to cut it. So they need to reinvent the wheel in a sense to get their geometry to work.
So yeah,
that's my
pretty
opinion.
cool.
But having said that, final note, I think it's good that they are doing something different. I'm working on different stuff, behind the scenes also, but I'll only sort of go with that when it's better. So there's a lot of stuff that's different and worse, or different and as good, or even better in some conditions, but then it's not as universal. So I want to find something that's universally better, or initially as good but has more potential, and then that's the direction I'll go. But yes, so I think it's good that they are doing this and working on it, and I hope they get it to work so that we have some diversity in car design, I'd say.
I just wanted to answer some questions about Silver State real quick. I saw some people ask them. Then I'm going to be out of here too, because I'm going to do some RC stuff. Thank you for tuning into the video, Sky Samurai. I hope I got a 5th scale too. Mr. Lil Chili, if I was to get a 5th scale car, I am getting a Losi 5T with the biggest OBR or Bartolome I can get, because these things are not slow. Here's the best thing I can say, Joseph, and I know people think I'm weird, but I watched those 5th scales race for 30 minutes, like the top guys like Kirkman.
I'm going to have to mute you now.
No, I just want to say this one thing.
First you bring a techno on my YouTube live, and now you're talking about 5th scale.
One thing I gotta say is that I spent 30 minutes watching those guys like Kirkman, Westergaard, Steve Harris, like the good guys drive in their main. I was getting roosted with dust, and all I was doing was this, because I couldn't stop watching. I felt like a kid that had walked into a hobby shop for the first time in his life, looking at those cars.
You have 10 more seconds to talk about 5th scale. 10.
And 9, that's it. No, 5th scales are awesome. 7, it's the truth.
6.
And
5,
they're not slow like
4,
JQ thinks they are. They're actually
3,
really fast. They handle good. And it was the best race that I saw at Silver State
1.
the whole week.
Yeah. You're done. No more 5th scale and no more techno. Done.
No. Okay. Second thing. Rough driving at Silver State.
Okay, so, let's end with that. But before that, Degani runs intermediate and 40 plus because he's retired. He just does the big races. That's it. So he doesn't practice, doesn't care enough to run pro. He used to be pro, world champion, not anymore.
Back in 2002. Rough driving at Silver State. So yeah, this was a big topic, but it's something positive has come out of this. We've only been talking about this for 3-4 years on the podcast, and you've probably been talking about it a lot longer. But now, so the rough driving was, it was kind of normal to me. Like, that's what I see at every race. But apparently people were a little upset. I think the biggest, like Rhonda Drake was upset, so she made a big post. And then I think even like Tony Newland was like, I was talking to him afterwards, like, he's like, I've never been to a race with such rough driving, and he must have talked to Jimmy. So I will say that I think that the rumor is that Joey's going to hire some referees next year. Because
amazing.
They're all,
he can take some of that $100,000 and pay a referee $200.
Right. So, but it's good. It's good. Like, then on Sunday, like Jimmy made more of an effort to call races and say, look, Jimmy made more of an effort to call things. And then even before the pro main started, Joey got on there and said, hey, you guys are the pro guys. Let's give a good show and all this type of stuff. So there was some positives. So, after 5 years of us saying we need referees, or 3.5 years on the podcast, finally people are listening, and now everybody wants referees for D&D and Silver State.
It's funny, like all the things that we've cried about, right? So we cried about, like, at least offer like an air compressor, tire washing station and stuff. Okay, now we have that. Yeah, crying about how we have pro races. People are paid salaries to race RC cars. They're paid bonuses to win races. And then it's like stand in line for practice, all these things that make it super unfair. And then there's the 40 plus class, you remember, where Drake got extra practice, then raced pro, could test stuff for Mayfield, all that stuff, super unfair, you know. Then they got rid of that, the Drake
Yeah.
rule, which is actually like, it's not really the Drake rule, it's the No Name RC podcast rule, because we made that happen. Let's be honest here, right? So we keep bringing up these things, and then slowly but surely races start adopting them, or other people start talking about them, like Tebow now. So how many years have we been talking about this? Standing in line for practice, how unfair it is. You stand in line, you watch some pros go up there and drive like 3 times while you are still in line. It's like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't fair. And now Tebow brought that up too. And then how there's no rules, rough driving, cutting the track, watering the track randomly. It's like Tebow said about, was it PMB? That his first qualifying round was just ruined because they flooded the track before his race. He had no chance. He had a clean run, terrible result. You know, these kind of things, like you put in all the effort and time and money and you go there and then you're just ruined because of some like unplanned, non-thinking decision to just, hey, let's flood the track now.
But this just
It's
comes
so
from
ridiculous.
You know what this comes from, right? And I said this on this week's podcast. I said it before. It just comes from no federation, no rules.
Hey,
like
Federation.
and America's
Have you seen the logo here?
IFMAR logo. Yeah.
Yeah. We're rocking that Federation logo here.
So it's just but the thing is, there are people that want things to be different in Raw, and there's lots of things going on in the background. And I had a meeting with some people while I was there, and there's a big effort going in, even by the manufacturers, to make things different in Raw. So people are listening. Like I said, it's good. I always said this on the podcast, or even you when you say it, we'll take the heat and we'll beat that path on for people with bigger voices to make a difference. So when you got Rhonda Drake and all these people chiming in about rough driving, that's when shit starts to change. You know, that brings validity to what we have been saying for a long time.
The thing is that we just have to decide, like, do we want to be this amateur shit show, which is fine, or do we want to have paid drivers and race bonuses and top 25 and be professional? Like, what do we want? Because you can't have both.
Right. So
now,
now,
it's an
like I
amateur
told
shit
you,
show. Let's have some beers in the pits and not give a crap about rough driving or rules or schedules or watering, you know? Or we do it properly. Like, you can't do both.
Now, my thing is, how do we take this race? And I told you this. Now it's getting better every year. Like, they figured out how to do the dust, keep that done, and they do all of that stuff, right? How do we figure out how to take this race and make it more appealing to all the people that are in this hotel? There's thousands
It's never
of people
going to
in this
happen.
hotel. I know
Never
that.
gonna happen.
It's never. But
you could do it, but it that would require effort and making less money.
Right, and then it would also require the manufacturers making the pro guys be pro and all that stuff. But it could be done. It could be done.
The frustrating thing in this industry is, I guess it's the same in all industries, but bigger ones don't have to rely on manufacturers or racers or in the same way, you know? Like in bigger industries, what happens is you can push through because you run a good business and you get sponsors and you have the money and funding and you do it. People show up and that's it, right? Here we have to sort of rely on everyone to work together, like all the manufacturers and the racers and this and that. Like, so it's so hard. So the frustrating thing is, over the years, all these things that we talk about the industry, how to improve it, when you speak with someone one-on-one, it could be a car manufacturer, an owner, team manager, top driver, paid professional. You talk to all these individual people. They all say the same damn things, right? They all agree. We need to do this. We need to do that. Manufacturers need to work together. All of the things basically agree. But then they don't do anything.
No.
Right? And when there's an opportunity to actually work together, they don't. So it's like, wake the fuck up. You just agreed to everything. And then the logical conclusion of that, 5 points that you agree on, okay, let's do this. Then you don't do that. So what's the point of you having those opinions if you are not then going to act on it accordingly? That's what's frustrating.
I would agree there. But, hey, we just keep chipping away. That's all. You get there.
I guess.
We get you chipping away. I see improvements. I see the way people are thinking now. I've never once heard people say, do we need referees? Like, it was all about the RD. Well, I ain't gonna lie. The RD can only do so much. Jimmy can only do so much. You can't call a race, make sure everything's going great, and call every penalty out there.
No, it needs to be a different person. But yeah, for your question, what you asked, like how to make it appealing, it's we will never make it appealing with the race format we use, and that's what I've been saying for a long time, and that's why I created the whole different formats and got the Live RC and Everlapse to include it in the timing software, so we can run different formats, right? We don't have to do that thing that we have done for so many years, where it's just endless practice, endless qualifying against the clock, and
I like this.
Degan is in the
He's
the
like,
back
I think
end
he thinks he's giving
filming
a
his
tour.
dog. Look.
Hey, Greg.
Oh no, he's just distracting us.
He's
Anyway,
just happy
my
to be
point
using his
was that-
phone.
Listen, what the hell was my point? What was I saying? Oh yeah, the format. Like, we can't keep running our races where we have endless practice, endless qualifying against the clock, and then at the end we have a bit of racing, heads up. Like, we can't do it. And we can't have club races where we go there at 6 a.m. and leave at 11 p.m. Like, only crazy people do that. So to your question, how do we make it more appealing? We need to make it so that it's more accessible. People can show up, have fun for a few hours, race heads up against other people, and go home. And it's possible to do. I wish more tracks, more race organizers would do that. So
I like what Isaac says here.
That's my rant.
I couldn't imagine if you guys put your mind towards money making ventures, how much you can make with how hard you guys work. I agree. It's not an RC. That's
I
for
agree
sure.
with that.
I've
I've often thought, like, what if I was in an industry that was big, and I would probably be
dead,
multimillionaire at this point.
Dead.
Now I'm stuck in Finland with shitty internet.
No shit.
Oh well.
All right. Well, this was fun. I'm gonna do some RC things, and yeah, we could definitely use some more likes. And if you guys like this, I'm gonna plug my channel. Go over to the end. It's JQ's.
There we go. Lefty can plug his shit on his own.
No. You got to plug your stuff and get on your soapbox. See, here's the thing. You know, when JQ's
that was funny. That was fun. Hey, why don't you give me the double middle fingers, Lefty? You're almost there. There we go. High five. Bye, Lefty.
See you later. Are we ending this or what?
Okay. See you. Okay, Lefty's gone. Now he's going to end the broadcast. Watch. He's such a dick.
Hey,
anyway.
I didn't finish saying what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
What I was going to say. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
check out episode number 188 tomorrow. See you later, everybody. Thanks for all the support.
Okay, see you.
Hit that subscribe button on that YouTube channel of mine.
Thanks for being a guest on my comeback YouTube live.
Yeah. Are you coming on my podcast next week? Yes.
Yeah.
When do you go Europe?
Hey.
When do you go Euros?
Thursday. Electric Euros.
Okay.
I'm just supporting JQ Mayako and Lefty Left. But your buggy looks awesome. The Agama question was because I really see some companies following Nemo, and the N1 being it proves itself next level. And the N1 being it proves itself. Well, let's see if it proves itself. I am looking forward to that, as I said. Great to see you
in Italy, JQ. I'm going.
See you in Italy.
See everybody.
Bye-bye, Lefty. Robin Fritschkoff. Swiss X-ray driver. Okay, that was that for this first live. Hopefully the next live is a bit shorter. We'll think of some topics. So, well, next week I won't do it because I'm going to the electric Euros, but the week after that, we'll do a live. So current events, we'll be talking about the electric Euros. I have to talk about e-buggies. Shit. and then talk about Mayako, and then talk about something to do with invisible speed, so setup, something like that. Show, is RCGP a fanboy or a champion race? Definitely a champion race. You go there, you do well, you get a wild card entry to the RCGP class. Progress. Okay. I think that's it. It was good. We averaged like 140 people or something on here. Probably 130, 140. That's quite good for the first one back. Last question here. Aluminium wishbones. Thoughts? No more silicarbon inserts. No. Aluminium arms just don't work. They bend on impact. Not good. So just a big no-no. Can't wait to see the e-buggy. Those people who really can't wait should become Mayako members, because they can already get the e-buggy. Members can get the prototype. Okay, so thank you to everyone, and this will be up on YouTube archive, and I'll upload that video from the track that we were talking about also. So see you in a couple of weeks. Boom.